Alright, what up everybody? Today we're going to be solving this triangle right here. It's a right triangle. We have one of the sides and we have the hypotenuse. And we're going to find the other sides using our sine, cosine, tangent. And we're going to find the other angle. We're going to do all this in 5 minutes or less, so hang on, here we go. What might throw some people off about this triangle is it's kind of like a different angle. And if we compare that to our model that we've been using, you can see that this one is kind of crooked, and the angle that we know is up here rather than down here. So can we still use this? And the answer is yes, but we have to be careful to figure out which side is which. So there's the longest side, which is across from the right angle, and that's always going to be the hypotenuse. So that's going to be C. Then we have the adjacent side, and we know it's the adjacent side because it's always going to be the other side that makes up the angle, right? So the angle is going to be made up of the hypotenuse plus one other side, and that one other side is going to be the adjacent side. So that's B in our model. And then the other one is the opposite side. And so if you just imagine this angle is a mouth, the mouth is kind of across from another wall, and that wall is the opposite side. All right, another way you can do this, if it helps, is just to take the example angle, make the side smaller, you can flip it and rotate it, and eventually you get the same triangle. Just now it matches the shape and the orientation of the triangle that we're trying to solve. So let's use that. We have the C, we have the hypotenuse, and we want to find the other two sides. We'll start with the opposite, the A in our example. And so we have C, we want to find A. We'll use sine, as sine has A and C in it. All right, so we'll put in the angle, 71 degrees, and we'll put in the hypotenuse, which is 8 down here. And if we solve for A, then we'll know what this side is. We'll know the length of that side. So let's multiply both sides by 8. The 8's cancel out. And we're left with something now that we can put in a calculator. And so that's the goal, is to find something you can put in a calculator, because obviously putting it in a calculator is fairly simple. If you need help putting it in a calculator, we have another video. Just follow the little card at the top of the screen to see that video. 7.56 is what you would get. And we'll put that down. Now let's find the other angle. I'm sorry, the other side. And so the other side is over here. And it's the B on our example, and we know we were given C, so we're going to go ahead and use that number because that's the safest number. And we want to find B. So cosine gives us both B and C. Plug in 71 degrees for the angle, and we'll plug in 8 for our hypotenuse. And so the algebra is the same this time. Multiply by 8, you get B on that side. And here's something we can put in the calculator, and we won't show you that step to save you time, but here is what you get, 2.6. And so now we know all three sides. The only thing we're missing is this angle over here. And the easiest way to find that is just to remember that the sum of angles inside of a triangle has to equal 180. And we have two of them already. We have 71 degrees, and we have the 90 degree right here. And so you put those in, and there's only one missing, and we can solve for that missing angle. You add 71 and 90, and then you subtract 161 from both sides, leaving you the mystery angle, which is 19 degrees. All right. So there you go. That's how you solve that triangle. Again, it was a little bit crooked, but we figured out which side was which, and then we used sine, cosine, and tangent to solve for those. I hope this helped. If you need help on another example, click on one of these videos, and I'll see you all another time.